Thanks for joining us on NTA Nationwide. I am Ronke Kolawole. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government is promoting workable policies in critical sectors to actualize diversification drive for development. It was at the commencement of the meeting of the National Council on Industry, Trade and Investment in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Lekon Agbonde has that report.
The conference with the theme Diversification of Nigerian Economy from Overdependence on Oil Exports attracted participants from the trade and investment sector across the country. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo says attractive monetary policies that will promote exports and exchange, focus on global competitiveness for economic development and infrastructural development drive are part of government policies to achieve sustainable growth.
We are working very closely with the central bank to try and improve liquidity in that whole value chain, just so that we're able to ensure that it remains a viable business and more investments, private investments can come into the sector.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, on his part, says Nigeria must produce more and trade more in order to wriggle out of the present economic recession.
We must use what we produce. We must eat what we produce. And that is part of what will help us to get out of recession, to move us forward in our development, and to, in fact, get us on the path of accelerated growth.
Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun suggested special focus on e-commerce and industry with creation of enabling environment for industries. They are corroborated by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enalama.
Yes, as we focus on these sectors through the introduction of various public policies targeted at social economic environment, employment generation, social safety net and poverty alleviation.
The meeting is a 4-day event expected to come to a close on Thursday in Abeokuta. Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Back in Abuja, the National Population Commission says a successful execution of its mandate largely depends on sustained commitment, cooperation and support of key stakeholders, as well as adequate and timely release of funds. Chairman of the Commission, Ezeduri Heoma, made this known while receiving the Senate Committee on National Identity Cards and National Population Commission in Abuja. Olajide Bello reports.
The visit created a platform to identify challenges bedeviling the Commission and brainstorm on ways of preferring solutions and moving forward. Chairman, National Population Commission, Ezeduru Heoma, says despite inadequate funding, the Commission is adopting measures to ensure the era of controversial and contentious censuses is over with a clear vision, organizational strength, cutting-edge technology and professional expertise to make Nigeria's population the broad platform for its greatness.
We look forward to the Senate Committee to ensure that required legislations on the next census are passed and passed in good time.
Chairman, Senate Committee on National Identity Cards and National Population Commission, Suleiman Hankoyi, said creating an interface to have a deeper understanding and relationship will go a long way towards repositioning the Commission.
We hope and pray by the time we are availed of this additional data of information that are required on this particular building, we'll be in a better position to see how we push it to the next stage.
The committee also visited the National Identity Management Commission as part of its oversight function. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the legislature has been described as the strategic partner of government in the fight against corruption. This was the view of the Executive Secretary of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, whose view was corroborated by other discussants on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria. Timothy Yusuf reports that the program focused on the role of legislature in the fight against corruption.
We play our part in the legislature. Other arms of government must be determined to do the same.
The Senate President Bukola Saraki speaking on the need for collaboration among all the tiers of government in the fight against corruption, which of course has been an issue of public discourse locally in the country. It is on this premise that guests on Good Morning Nigeria believe that there still exists a gap in the role of the legislature in the fight against corruption. This, they say, is against the backdrop that they are also empowered to investigate, in addition to their constitutional mandate of lawmaking.
In the seventh assembly, a number of bills were put before the legislature which would help Nigeria to fight corruption. That's called how the legislature view these bills, the importance of these bills to them. They did not look at those bills until the dying minutes.
If the legislature can begin to become proactive by looking at the mischief in existing law, and on the basis of that mischief, they begin to plug the gaps and loopholes in the laws.
We find today a situation where an institution of government that is empowered by law to expose and fight corruption is in itself embroiled in corruption.
The guests blamed the lukewarm attitude of the legislature in the fight against corruption on the nation's political system, which has a major influence in their decision-making. To strengthen the legislature, the guests suggested a minimum qualification of second-class degree for contesting election into the legislature, pointing out that this will greatly impact on an understanding of what is expected of them as legislators, instead of having them as mere rubber stamp.
Almost 15% of those who are in the legislature, in the Senate in particular, are former chief executive of states who have corruption cases against them. The zeal to fight corruption, your guess is as good as mine.
Also, the Freedom of Information Act should be implemented to the letter, because if it is implemented to the letter, there will be a lot of transparency.
It is difficult to imagine how somebody with a school certificate can understand the laws of the land and the Constitution, interpret it and work with it. It's a basic problem.
They called on members of the legislature at both federal and state levels to make national interest their priority. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
As Nigerians continue to react to the arrest of the judiciary officers for alleged corrupt practices, the Forum for Non-Governmental Organizations wants the Zen minds to be guided by constitutional provisions establishing the Department of State Services and immunity for public officers. This is the view of the group in their campaign tagged War Against Corruption, No Untouchables, as reported by Joseph Orok.
According to the forum, the Department of State Services acted constitutionally in line with Section 2, Sub 3C of Presidential Proclamation Instruments of 1999 and that of Section 148 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, which provides for a search warrant to be effected anytime, any day. The forum believes those against the search and arrest of the judicial officers should be more concerned about the substantive issue of corruption rather than attempting to divert attention to the procedure of the arrest.
By Section 2, Subsection 3 of the National Security Agencies Act 1, 1986, Cap 278, LFN 990, the State Security Service is charged with responsibility for A, prevention and detention within Nigeria of any crime underlined against the internal security of Nigeria. Is judicial crime not a crime? Thereby calling on the serving judges and justices among those who are arrested by the DSS to immediately step down, since the conniving agency is not willing to suspend them.
The forum therefore urged people-oriented individuals and organizations to rise up and be front runners of the fight against corruption within the judiciary.
War against corruption,
no untouchable.
In Abuja, Joseph Orok, NTA News.
With the increased frustration and alleged applicants into the Federal Civil Service, the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission, John Olatoyosiayo, has appeared before the House Committee on Public Service Matters. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports that this followed a motion moved on the floor of the House for an urgent probe into the matter.
It goes off and you can't get access. So I was wondering, how can a nation want to do recruitment and it is shrouded in secrecy and deceit?
Fielding questions from members of the House Committee on Public Service Matters, the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission detailed her explanations on accessing the online portal, illegal recruitment and discrimination based on degree classification.
We set up the website as a means of curbing corruption. Anytime we use form, it generates a lot of corruption. It generates a security breach, because so many people will converge on the office right from the gates because of the volume of people coming. Even the gatemen too, we want to pass only those people maybe who grease their palm.
The chairman of the committee, however, ruled on the latter, saying all graduates must be given equal opportunity for recruitment, as competencies should not be based solely on certificates.
The Constitution does not provide that. Let them be on the competence of the interviews, and they can, try to segregate between the class degree. But in a situation whereby they can advert and say that only first class should apply for some position, we felt it's not fair to Nigerians.
Compliance with the federal character law is also emphasized, while the deadline for the online application is extended to mid-November. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Our first port of call as we join Abdullahi for more reports on Nationwide. Hello there, Abdullahi. It's over.
Good to see you, Ronke, and thanks for joining us in Lagos. Paying adequate attention to the needs of internally displaced persons and integrating healthcare facilities in the camps will significantly reduce disability and premature death among IDPs in Nigeria. This was the general consensus of stakeholders at a symposium in Lagos with the theme Plight of the IDPs in Nigeria, the Way Forward. Annie Daniels report that the symposium was organized by the United Nations Association of Nigeria in collaboration with the United Nations Information Center in Lagos.
Available statistics reveal that over 2 million Nigerians are presently displaced. This is majorly due to the activities of the Boko Haram insurgents in the northeastern part of Nigeria. This has also translated to the establishment of internally displaced persons camps across the country. Resource persons at this symposium applauded the federal government's effort at catering to the needs of the IDPs, and of recent, the release of more of the abducted Chibok girls. They, however, say that more needs to be done, especially in the area of healthcare, rehabilitation, as well as prompt and adequate response.
We are so concerned in the sense that these children are being deprived of education and they are being moved to unknown places.
I will be surprised that how many of them even smoke in the camp. So even bring awareness to them that smoking is bad for your health. Also, that's going to improve their health.
Every other stakeholder that gets to the scene of disaster means NEMA has been there. If it is depressed, you are part of the stakeholders in emergency management.
The symposium is part of activities to mark the United Nations 71st anniversary. Director, United Nations Information Center, Lagos, Ronald Kayanja, revealed that the UN is working assiduously to ensure that it achieves its sustainable development goals.
What we are doing, the UN, the government, we are doing a lot, but the problem is huge. So we want Nigerians everywhere to know that the country faces this challenge and everybody can contribute.
Ending poverty, hunger in Lagos. Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Lagos State Government has clarified its decision to demolish illegal structures and shanties erected along the river banks and on the high-tension cables across the state. The state government cited security concerns and flagrant abuse of its building regulations as the core reasons. The State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Steve Ayorinde, made this known while addressing journalists in Alausa, Lagos. Nosausula reports.
The State Commissioner for Information, who was joined at the press briefing by his counterparts in the Ministries of Housing and top officials from the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, said the state government will not go back on its resolve to establish zero tolerance for all structures and properties built under high-tension cables.
We believe that there exists flagrant disobedience of building regulations in the state, and the government has therefore resolved to ensure the removal of all structures that are in contravention of the law.
Ilubirin site was reclaimed about 10 years ago by the administration of Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the fishermen there then were resettled at Badore. So the people that their shanties were demolished recently are the squatters.
On his part, Commissioner for the Environment, Dr. Babatunde Adejare, said adequate notices and sensitization have been embarked upon by the state government to educate the people on the need to refrain from constructing any structure on riverbanks, saying that the safety of about 22 million residents of the state cannot be allowed to be jeopardized by few. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
In a bid to sensitize the public on issues of violence against women in Nigeria, the Lagos State government, through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, is partnering with organizers of a project on domestic violence. The Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Honorable Lola Akonde, disclosed this during a press briefing at the Bagauda Kalto Press Center, Alausa, in Lagos. Nusa Osula again reports.
According to the Commissioner, the objectives of the project aligned with the ministry's vision of continually engaging in productive conversations about the plight, also exploring ways of improving their well-being.
Nearly 3 in 10 Nigerian women have experienced physical violence since age 15. Furthermore, according to the same source, 1 in 4 married women experience physical, sexual, or emotional abuse by their husband.
She explained that a Wuro project was established in 2014 to highlight the anomaly and evoke public discourse on ways of eliminating violence and discrimination against women, using the arts, music, drama, and poetry to engage the audience and reawaken the minds of Nigerians to the true plight of the Nigerian woman.
From the findings on the survey conducted in Lagos State in collaboration with UNICEF, there is a high prevalence of violence against children. Approximately 6 out of every 10 children experience some form of violence, while half of all children experience physical violence.
The founder and executive producer of Ewuro Project, Tim Godfrey, thanks the state government, particularly the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, for the support and encouragement to his team. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
And our report ends nationwide. From here, the news continues with Ronke in Abuja. Ronke, over to you.
Thank you, Abdullahi. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, has commended the ingenuity of officers and men of the Nigerian Navy in tackling challenges of maritime-related offenses. He stated this when he inspected Navy formations in Akwa Ibom State. Tony Maju has that report.
The Chief of Naval Staff, who was on the familiarization visit to the formation under his command, was at the NNS. He inspected projects in the command. The commander, NNS Jubilee, Commodore Seidu Gaba, conducted the Chief of Naval Staff around various departments. At the NNS Jubilee Sick Bay, the visitor laid foundation stone of the second wing, where he pledged the support of the Navy headquarters to complete the project on or before December 2016. The Chief of Naval Staff was also at the proposed Navy Falcon I project jetty, where he was briefed and inspected some operational gunboats.
I've only urged them to keep up the good works so that we can free the area of criminalities and enable legitimate business to thrive for the benefit of all of us.
The Chief of Naval Staff was at the Ekwarekwa multi-million naira technical college built by former Governor Victor Atta, abandoned by his predecessor, and finally donated to be used as Navy School by Governor Dum Emmanuel. The climax of the working visit was a courtesy call on the Akwa Ibom State Governor, where issues of security collaboration were discussed. In Uyo, Tony Madu, NTA News.
The need for cooperation among African states in the fight against terrorism was on the front burner as security experts came together in Abuja for the 2016 Nigeria Security Exhibition and Conference. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports that the theme for this year is Defense and Homeland Security Africa.
With insurgency and acts of terrorism threatening global peace, the Nigerian Security Exhibition and Conference serves as a common front for African defense forces to share ideas and propose solutions to the security challenges faced by the continent. Chief of Defense Staff General Gabriel Olonishakin, who was represented by Air Commodore Lalekon Lawal while enumerating Nigeria's contribution since 1960, emphasized the importance of checking illegal weapon transfer, small arms and light weapon proliferation, just as the Director General NTA, Malam Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, represented by the Executive Director News, Shola Atere, spoke on the role of the media in ensuring national security.
In the course of this presentation, I intend to provide highlights of what we have done in the past, what we will do in future, some issues we are contending with, and solutions we believe would address these issues.
We pursue commercial interest quite all right, or competition, but we cannot allow that to becloud our responsibility towards national security. Because when you protect or sustain or you contribute to national security, indirectly, you are sustaining the national interest of your country.
Others spoke on the need for intelligence gathering, cooperation and coordination between African countries to see to the defeat of all forms of terrorism and insurgency, noting that if assistance is not given to any nation in conflict, the neighboring countries will as well inherit the consequences.
No country in Africa can afford to be importing all it needs for its security. No. You just have to look inwards and do something for yourself. If you can't do something directly with yourself, you cooperate with people close by who can help you.
NISEC is creating the biggest platform for African defense forces to come together, find a common solution to our common problem, because none of these nations lives in isolation.
This is the third in the series of the conference described as a one-stop shop for made-in-Africa security equipment. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
The symposium on Nigeria's fallen heroes in Abuja has rekindled interest in the families of veterans and Nigerians who paid the supreme price defending their fatherland. Olajide Bello reports that the event urged Nigerians to always consider the plight of those they left behind as a way of deepening patriotism.
They are remembered annually on the 15th of January, known as Armed Forces Remembrance Day, when fallen heroes and veterans who paid the ultimate price are celebrated. Aside from being embedded in the national anthem, are their labor sustained and not in vain? This informed the Nigerian Fallen Heroes Symposium with the theme, Our Fallen Heroes, Their Sacrifices, Challenges and Our Responsibilities.
No society can function and thrive if the pain and sacrifices of the loved ones or immediate loved ones of those who had laid their lives for our country is not acknowledged and supported.
For each and every one of us to become genuinely concerned with and committed to the plight and welfare of families left behind by fellow Nigerian men and women who died on the line of action, defending us and protecting our liberty to life.
118-year-old retired Major Clement Ujam is a World War II veteran.
Lord of mercy and compassion, look with pity upon us.
In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Time now to join Abdullahi in our Kaduna studio for a report on malaria epidemic and other stories making the headlines in that axis. Hello, Abdullahi. It's over to you.
Thank you very much, Ronke, and welcome. Communities and families in Kaduna Metropole are in apprehension following an outbreak of malaria and typhoid that are gradually assuming epidemic levels. Tina Toro, who went around some public hospitals, has a situation report.
Malaria and typhoid are diseases with similar symptoms, difficult to differentiate without a laboratory test. These diseases are prevalent in many parts of the world, especially in developing countries, where sanitation, water supply, and personal hygiene are common. Malaria accounts for about 40% of deaths in Nigeria and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The recent outbreak of typhoid and malaria in Kaduna State has become a source of concern to many.
We have been here since because a lot of patients are here. It's not easy. Truly, it's not easy.
Investigation shows that over 300 people have tested positive to typhoid and malaria infection in the last 7 days in 2 major hospitals in Kaduna Metropolis.
Because once you run the two tests for malaria and typhoid, you discover that the patient will carry the two infections at the same time. So they have multiple infections, both malaria and typhoid.
Compared to what we've been getting in the past, these days the number is much.
Though facilities at public hospitals have been overstretched, the Kaduna State government has put in place containment measures.
The government have provided free anti-malaria drugs, and that is why everybody is coming up now to have it.
Some patients comment. In Kaduna, Tina Turu, NTA News.
As part of efforts towards reducing the rate of accidents along Zaria-Sokoto route, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, in collaboration with Ahmadu Bello University alumni, is to construct a multi-million naira overhead pedestrian bridge at the north gate of the university. Sagir Muhammad Awal has the details.
Over the years, Ahmadu Bello University has lost many students and many sustained various injuries as a result of accidents along the Zaria-Sokoto road. Because of the busy nature of the highway, the accident usually occurs when staff and students are trying acceptable, hence the need for the pedestrian bridge. Performing the foundation stone laying of the bridge, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, represented by the former Secretary of the Federation, Mahmoud Yael Ahmad, said if completed, the bridge will ease traffic congestion and reduce loss of lives of students.
This particular project will not stop, will not suffer because of funding. Please try and conclude it before even the 24 months.
Students commended the effort of the association and the funder of the project.
This bridge will go a long way in assisting the small children and the adolescents of this staff school that will be crossing this highway.
National President ABU Alumni Association Ahmed Tijan Mora applauded the effort of former Vice President for the gesture and urged other alumni to emulate.
We have devised a system whereby every student registering in this university will have a laptop. The cost of the laptop over 36 months in every semester that he registers. The first set of beneficiaries will receive their laptop.
At a forum of alumnus in Zaria, Mora, while reiterating the association's readiness to provide intra-city bus shuttle service, laptop computer loan scheme for students, said the bridge will be completed in 2 years. In Zaria, I'm Sagir Muhammad Awal, NTA News.
The effort of Kano State Police Command appears to be yielding results following the arrest of 11 suspected kidnappers at Dogo local government area of the state. This effort is coming as the bill on the prevention of kidnapping is passing through second reading at the State House of Assembly. Lawal Sallau Inwa has the details.
The Southern Senatorial Zone of Kano State is the flashpoint of armed banditry and kidnapping, particularly Dogwa, Tudungwada, and Ghana local government areas. Only recently, the State Police Commissioner Rabi Yusuf embarked on a tour of the state to educate people on the dangers of harboring or aiding bandits. Commissioner Rabi Yusuf explained that the arrest was made possible by the command's special anti-kidnapping squad based on intelligence report after a gun duel.
The offset of kidnappers, we have in place proactive measures to enable us to at least checkmate the activities of these hoodlums.
He said while some of the kidnappers escaped to the thick forest, some hostages that were taken captives numbering 12 were freed. Items recovered from the suspects include one AK-47 rifle, 2 fully loaded magazines, 250 rounds of ammunition, Bajaj Boxer motorcycles, masks and personal belongings. 2 of the suspects confessed to have raped 2 women. The commissioner therefore advised criminal elements to surrender and embrace peace or face the dire consequences of the actions. From Kano, Lawal Sallau Inwa, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has restated the commitment of the federal government in strengthening anti-corruption reforms to bring about integrity and justice in governance. This formed part of the issues raised at the retreat hosted by Kaduna State government in partnership with Global Initiative on the War Against Corruption now in Nigeria. Garba Muhammad Nata'ala reports.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who was represented by Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, says there is the need for a national action plan as well as partnership among stakeholders and the public to contribute meaningfully in ensuring accountability in governance. He said this will in turn strengthen anti-corruption reforms of the present administration in all sectors.
As a government, we shall remain focused, bold and result-oriented in delivering on the promises President Muhammadu Buhari made to provide good governance to the Nigerian people and the commitments made during the Anti-Corruption Summit in London earlier this year.
Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, who stood in for the Governor, Bala Barnabas, said such action plan is desirable towards prevention of corruption.
Our government believes that the governance standards embodied in the Open Government Partnership are very helpful in advancing the implementation of transparent and results-oriented government.
The retreat focuses on improving government's transparency and accountability, which was formally launched in 2011 but became operational July 2016 in Nigeria. In attendance were civil society organizations, anti-graft agencies, among other government establishments, and foreign delegate partners in Kaduna. Garba Muhammad Nata'ala, NTA News.
And with that report, is back to you, Ronke, for more on the Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Moving on now, the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, Yakubu Ibu Mohammed, has promised to give the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons all necessary support to actualize its mandate of returning displaced persons to their respective homes. This was on a visit on synergy between the two agencies. Ifeanyi Ezumba, here's that report.
The visit is to solicit support from the NTA in sharing the concerns of President Muhammadu Buhari and resettling victims of insurgency into normal life. The Federal Commissioner for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadiya Omar Farouk, who is new on board, assured her host that it will not be business as usual to shortchange the affected.
We are here to discharge our duties diligently and live up to the expectations of Nigerians.
NTA Director General Yakubu Ibn Muhammad stressed the organization's forward-looking approach as a responsible one committed to public matter. He explained a theme from the Northeast is expected back for a well-documented program on the plight of internally displaced persons.
We are doing some special reports and highlighting the plight of these people, because it is the business of all Nigerians to ensure that these people return as soon as they can to their original places of abode.
He promised an open-door policy to the Commission and assistance as much as possible. Ifani Esumba, NT News.
And now in other news, the West Africa Agricultural Productivity Program under the auspices of ECOWAS is currently training farmers in the Northeast to further boost food production in the region. The capacity building exercises came in at a time that farmers displaced by insurgency in the Northeast are returning home. Musa Baba Aliyu has that report.
Farmers in the northeastern states are known largely for their contributions to national food production. They are known for the production of grains including maize, guinea corn, rice, beans, as well as livestock and fishery. Insurgency, however, have crippled farming activities in the region, especially in Borno, Yobe, and parts of Adamawa State, as over 2 million farming communities were displaced. Now that the peace has returned, most of the farmers are back in the farm. Therefore, there is the need to equip them with modern and simple technology that will aid their farming activities.
We have a technology of using plastic containers to teach the IDPs in their camps on how to even use 50 liters of water to raise fish. We also have improved seeds of maize and sorghum, which we have on ground to give to for dry season farming.
WAP, in collaboration with FIRU, has commenced a process that I believe will lead to massive creation of employment in Nigeria in the nearest future. And very soon we shall begin to see the products of the trainees on this program in the market, not only in Nigeria, but also in the international markets.
Over 900,000 farming communities recently returned home, according to statistics of the National Emergency Management Agency. In Yola, Adamawa State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
We now take a short break to be back with more reports on Nationwide. Do stay with us.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
The National Health Insurance Scheme and its laudable life-saving program. What is the impact on healthcare delivery in Nigeria? This is the focus of NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live, informative, educative and engaging. Don't be told. Join us.
We intend to radically change Newman Street. My company has a track record of converting slums into new cities. Many years of experience has taught us to fish out allies within the communities we want to transform.
Don't listen to your husband. Listen to me. Give me a boy. And the two of you may never even have to work again.
Yeah, sharp guy, how are you? What's your name? Akpos. America. Oh, Akpos, America.
Yeah, one. Love you too.
Wonderful, brother.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, invites state commissioners, permanent secretaries and directors of information and all other stakeholders in the information sector to the 46th National Council on Information with the theme, Leveraging on Information and Digital Technology to Sustain the Change Agenda of Government. Chief host, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, Governor of Delta State. Venue, Event Center Okpanam Road, Asaba, Delta State. Date, 26 to 29 October 2016. Program is as follows. Wednesday, 26 October 2016. Time, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Arrival and registration of participants. Thursday, 27 October 2016. Time, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Registration continues and 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. is slated for the technical session. Friday, 28 October 2016. Time, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Registration of state commissioners. 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Opening ceremony. And from 12 noon to 6 p.m., the council meeting will take place. Announcer, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Who are you and what is your predicament?
Please, I'm looking for Candy. Who is living here? In this compound?
Oh no, this is a premises. A compound is an amalgam of chemicals, and there is no Candy living in this premises.
This week on your award-winning comedy series, Professor John Bull, starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Funky Malam, Bimbo Akintola, Ime Bishop, Yomi Fash Lanso, MC for God.
Who was you? What was you found?
Auntie, I look at you. I going to look for my sister. I know you are poor.
Here. You was found the place. Call me. Okay?
Say somebody.
She's definitely not my sister.
Shut up!
Professor John Bull, fasting Network International and Star Times. It's absolutely bombastic.
Over and out. The largest data network, Glow, Grandmasters of Data.
Our latest edition of TV Guide is out. This edition of your favorite magazine will simply blow your mind. The package is loaded and our offering is quite illuminating. NTA has a new Director General, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, a tested and trusted professional, an old wine that keeps getting better with age. This is the new driver of the digital switch over train. Get to know him more in TV Guide. And now, on our cover is one of Nigeria's finest comic actors, Afiz Oyetoro, aka Saka. Peep into his world and you will see how he is putting from glory to glory. The change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, we did an assessment so far. All our refreshing columns and incisive features are a collector's item and research materials. TV Guide, available on your newsstands and in all NTA stations nationwide. Also in our embassies in United Kingdom, USA, China, Ghana and Egypt. TV Guide, grab a copy and give one to a friend. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogeruola. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
Glad you're still watching nationwide on NTA network service. Nigerians, irrespective of their background and profession, have been urged to exhibit ingenuity in the current economic situation in the interests of the country. Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education stated this during his oversight function at the Nigerian Education Research and Development Council and National Mathematical Center in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
The oversight function is part of the legislator's processes of preparing the 2017 budget. The Senate Chief Whip, Olushola Adeye, who led members of the committee on behalf of its chairman, was briefed by the Executive Secretary of the Education Research and Development Council, Professor Ismail Junaid, on how the council has fared with the 2016 budget so far. Acknowledging the council average performance hinged on late release of the budget, which is also not enough, Senator Adeye said despite the lean resources, everybody must sacrifice in building what he called the Nigerian project.
We can't allow Nigeria to lag further behind. So despite the limited resources, it is our hope that this commission here will continue to do its best to advance the curriculum of our children so that they can be competitive in the years ahead.
At the National Mathematical Center, Abuja, its Chief Executive Professor Stephen Ona lamented delisting the center from TED Fund, which he said hampers its operations among other predicaments.
The center has been unable to embark on this experience and mounting of train the trainers workshops.
Members of the committee asked the center to furnish its secretariat with more information to be able to look into its challenges with a view to addressing them. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Sleja, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. We now join Marianne in Makurdi Network Center for more stories on Nationwide. Hello, Marianne.
Hello, Runke. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Makurdi. The former Senate President, David Mark, has called on public-spirited individuals and private organizations to complement government's efforts at empowering citizens to reduce poverty. Senator Mark stated this in a message at the presentation of working tools to the graduates of Women Development Support Initiative Program in Otukpo. Comfort Amudu reports.
Government at all levels have continued to evolve laudable programs to curb the increasing rate of unemployment and poverty. The rate aggravates as millions of graduates join the labor market yearly. It is to complement government effort that the Women Skill Development Support Initiative was established in 2005 by the wife of the former Senate President, Chief Helen Mark, to empower youths across the country.
You will agree with me that the unfriendly conditions under which most women work to generate a living for themselves and their families call for attention.
Speaking at the graduation ceremony of female youths on skill development and support to women entrepreneurs in Otukpo, Benue State, Senator Mark, represented by the member representative constituency Benue State, Egli Johnson, who said the empowerment tools will add value to the lives of the beneficiaries. More than 100 women, including 57 who successfully completed training in computer, hairdressing, fashion design, and food processing, were given equipment worth millions of naira to begin their trade. In Otukpo, Comfort Amudu, NTA News.
The 3-day training for Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS meant to impart scientific and sophisticated skills to meet up with new security challenges has been rounded off in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Assistant Inspector General of Police of the zone, Agbola Oshodi Glover, says the trainees are now equipped to tackle security issues more effectively. Charles Abba reports.
The 3-day training of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigeria Police Force, which is to enhance their operational capacity, is in compliance with the directive of the Inspector General of Police. The training, which was inaugurated nationwide, had as its contents use of force and handling of firearms, care and custody of suspects, management of crime scene, and community policing, among others. Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 4, Agbola Oshodi Glover, expressed satisfaction with the level of training and urged the trainees to bring their experience to bear on their operations. SARS Commandant of Benue State Police Command, Audu Boka, who spoke on behalf of the trainees, said they are more prepared than ever for any challenges. 96 of the officers and men of the force participated in the training from Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau states. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
And that's nationwide from Makudi. It's back to Runke. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Marianne. Nigeria has joined the global communities in commemorating the 2016 World Polio Day. Morjanati Adam Said reports that effective surveillance and sufficient financial and technical support from government and donor agencies are said to be key in keeping the tempo against polio virus in Nigeria, especially in the northeast.
New cases of wild polio virus. Since then, Nigeria has been reclassified as a polio endemic country following the resurgence of the wild polio virus in Borno State. As at 14 October 2016, the country has detected 4 new cases, which analysts in the health sector believe is a major setback for the fight against poliomyelitis, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa.
So it's not just Nigeria, but it is the region. A testimony to the to ensure that all resources are released promptly and that we continue to look for additional resources and to enable us to mount a robust response. But we are working together.
Professor Adewale commended the Nigerian government, UNICEF, World Health Organization, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, volunteers, and other national and international agencies for their contribution towards ensuring that by 2017 there is no single case of poliomyelitis in Nigeria and Africa. In Abuja, Marijanatu Adam Said, NTA News.
In the meantime, relevant people on the campaign against polio in Nigeria have been urged to remain resolute to the cause until the country is certified polio-free by the World Health Organization, WHO. The appeal was made at a symposium organized by Rotary International District 9125, Nigeria, to commemorate this year's World Polio Day in Abuja. Chukunonso Nwabweze has that report.
The continued efforts of government at all levels in Nigeria and other key partners over the years to protect children within the country and across the world from polio have been remarkable. The recent setbacks in Borno State due to the emergence of 4 new cases of the virus underscores the need for everyone within the globe to intensify efforts towards eradicating the scourge. This symposium on polio eradication initiative in the FCT and how volunteers can add value to local immunization initiative is therefore an avenue for Rotarians to re-strategize towards improving the advocacy to kick polio out of Nigeria.
Polio campaign is a booster dose we're giving them. Because they didn't attend to this, we have to follow them to church, we have to follow them to market, we have to follow them to the Islamia school. Anywhere they are, we must follow you anywhere you are, you must send all their children from 0 to 9 months. I haven't cleared 99.something% in the face of the heart. I and you, we have the belief that it is a doable project.
But what are the measures already in place to contain the recent outbreak of the virus in the country?
We must maintain routine immunization. Even when we do not see any new case anymore, we cannot stop.
Just working our partners and the Rotarians on backcountry, we are doing rapid response immunization, we are doing the monitoring.
It is believed that with a strong political will and collaboration, Nigeria will be certified polio-free in the next 3 years. Chukunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
Time now for some foreign reports on Global Tidbits with Chimdima Mudubisi.
Artists in South Sudan have launched a public art project to promote peace and unity in a country that has seen violence for 3 years. They are painting walls of schools, bakeries and cultural centers with pictures showing children suffering in the civil war and self-destructive nature of conflicts. The team is collaborating with residents and has plans to extend the project outside the capital. And reports from Kenya say at least 12 people have been killed as local militia attacked a guest house in border town of Mandera that was hosting members of a theatre group who came for school performances.
In France, officials have started demolishing Calais migrant camp after relocating willing occupants to refugee centers across the country. This comes as the United Nations Refugee Agency rates this year as the deadliest for refugees and migrants crossing the Mediterranean Sea to Europe, with a record of 3,740 deaths. In another development, United Kingdom's ministers have approved a third runway at Heathrow Airport. This, they say, will expand the airport's capacity and support trade and jobs. That's Global Tidbits. Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Thank you, Chim. Nigerian Air Force officers begin quest for sporting honors in Katsina as International Association of Athletics Federation clear President Sebastian Coe of wrongdoing. Ayodeji Makinde has details on Sports Update.
The 8th edition of the week-long Nigerian Air Force Games began Monday at the Muhammadu Diko Stadium, Katsina State, with athletes from the 5 Air Force commands competing for honors in 15 sports. Correspondent Lake Kokila Jolu reports that President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by Defense Minister Mansour Dan Ali, charged the athletes on mental and physical alertness in a bid to further enhance their call to protect Nigeria's territorial integrity. The 2016 Nationwide League One Super 8 began on Monday in Lagos with the resolution by the organizer tournament as feeder for Premier League club sides. Speaking at a press briefing, the interim chairman Ibrahim Musa Gusau says the Super 8 will showcase the talents in the League One, urging coaches across the federation to come and scout.
I'm sure by the little publicity we are going to give the event, and we'll get a lot of fans coming to the pitch to watch what we are doing.
The 8 teams that are vying for honors include Enyimba Feeders FC, FRSC FC Abuja, and AS Racing FC in Group A, while Beat the Lions FC, Papilo FC, My People FC, and FC Abuja are in Group B. Relief came the way of President International Association of Athletics Federation Sebastian Coe as the Ethics Board say it found no evidence of bribery attempts in a bid by Qatar to secure hosting rights for the 2017 World Championships. This is in contrast with the early submission by the chairman UK Athletics Ed Warner, who alleged that IAAF Council members were called to receive brown envelopes containing cash from the Qatari delegation on the night of voting. The Ethics Board maintained that there is no documentary evidence to corroborate Mr. Warner's submission. With Sports Update, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
A reminder that you can get all our stories and much more when you log on to our website www.nta.ng. We thank you for watching Nationwide on NTA Network Service. I am Ronke Kolawole.